This is why the NBA fears Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Can you tell us your name?
My name is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
When were you born?
I was born in 1994.
What is your goal for your career?
I want to be NBA player.
On a Tuesday night in the past 2021 NBA season, Giannis Antetokounmpo delivered the Milwaukee Bucks their first title in half a century with a 50-point masterpiece in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, completing his remarkable journey with the franchise that drafted him back in 2013. His loyalty and 8 years of playing for this exact team finally came to a climax. His night started with a chase down block on Mikal Bridges, swatting him and his layup into another dimension, which even Doctor Strange has yet to discover in the multiverse. Right after that, he served us dinner with what looked like the easiest 2 points in the NBA history. The immovable object and the unstoppable force basically both rolled into one. Somewhere in between, we've been treated with a performance of such magnitude that at points it was hard to tell what was causing the tremor shaking throughout Milwaukee and the entire Midwest in general. Was it the 65,000 fans crammed outside the Fiserv Forum, erupting after each basket? Or was it the lone force of nature trapped inside it? The cleanest form of savagery, a basketball player with the same genetic makeup as a tsunami. Something tells me it was the latter.
I feel amazing! Right, mommy? This is my mom right here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
There is literally no writer, past or present, who could possibly come up with a character this good. Real or imaginary, neither seem possible. The Greek son of Nigerian immigrants, who grew up by mostly selling sunglasses, handbags, DVDs and CDs on the streets of Athens to support his parents, and hasn't even been introduced to a basketball until he was 13. At the age of 15, he wasn't even on the list of top 10 or so players at his school. And at the age of 18, he was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks with only the 15th selection in the first round. 21, first triple-double. 22, first All-Star selection. 24, first MVP. And on that sad Tuesday night, now age 26, he became an NBA champion and Finals MVP after delivering a 50-point, 14-rebound, and 5-block opera against the Phoenix Suns. We're talking about the kind of otherworldly trajectory that could make a meteor blush. And that wasn't even it. Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year, 5 times All-Star, 5 times All-NBA, 4 times All-Defense, and an all-time great, already at the age of 26. During the game, as Twitter fell over itself in pure disbelief at Antetokounmpo's staggering refusal to accept the Game 7 decider in Phoenix, many took the opportunity to highlight his physical transformation, going from a gangly teenager stud to a towering marble-made Adonis. But no, it's impressive, of course, something similar to watching Bruce Banner morph into the Incredible Hulk so gradually you're not even able to notice the difference until you see his old holiday photos. Funnily enough, his physique was the main factor for the Bucks franchise to take him on as project all those years ago. The word on the street is that they've been praying for long Sunday nights, that through hard work in the gym, even harder coaching, and a little bit of Wakanda's vibranium, that tantalizing amalgamation of length, speed, agility, height, and coordination would eventually assemble into something as close to a capable rotation option in the NBA as possible. And those prayers worked. Giannis has not just added muscle mass on top of muscle mass, and grown so many inches he didn't need. His whole frame has undergone an alteration, from his skill intelligence as a basketball player to the content of his character off the court. This isn't to say he was ever unskilled or unlikable, It's just that now, after seeing him literally send Phoenix to the sun, it's hard not to mention his significant growth as a person, rather than mentioning the bones and tons of muscular tissue holding him up. The last time Milwaukee Bucks won a championship was half a century ago, exactly, in 1971, and back then, it was because of the presence of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. His generational talent was gifted to the franchise after they won a literal coin toss for the first overall selection in the 1969 draft, with pick number 2 going to the Phoenix Suns. In other words, it was nothing more and nothing less than a chance. But with Giannis, it's different. He wasn't so obvious since the beginning. He wasn't even a sure thing at all, and it also wasn't luck. Even though everyone was telling them not to take him, the Bucks saw something in him, even if it was just those tentacled limbs and the stride of a Victoria's Secret model. In return, he also didn't force his way into the Lakers at the first opportunity. He stayed in Milwaukee because he was grateful, and they were the team that took a, back then, risky chance on him. It was the place he began to call home, and to be honest, it was probably because they were giving him about $228 million just to stick around. But it also always seemed like he liked it there, which was probably the main reason he stayed. His enormous development, from all perspectives, has been precisely the result of an embryonic relationship, not a happy coincidence of it. Watching him in Game 6, the playoffs, and the last few seasons has been both a privilege and a joy. Because of all his physical gifts, it's safe to call him the single most impossible athlete in a league full of impossible athletes, or to put it simply, the superhuman of super people. Even the free throws, his major weakness throughout the postseason, where he was averaging just 56%, went up by tens. His percent at the line skyrocketed to almost 90 in Game 6. That would legally be considered as a miracle, even as a court case, but only if it wasn't Giannis. So would the first Bucks title in 50 years, and the first 50-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus blocks game in playoff history. See, there are athletes of all categories that you root for because they are the most dominant on the field. There are huge markets and super teams. There are Zeus and Poseidon, Batman and Superman, Iron Man and Spider-Man, and the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then there's Giannis. Whatever he is, and whatever he might still turn out to be, around the corner, there's probably a strong temptation to cite him as the shining realization of the American dream. The poor Greek kid who observed the Statue of Liberty and saw his bank account explode overnight. He's much more than that. He's the opposite of all opposites. Ordinary and extraordinary. A supreme athlete and a street vendor. But above all, he is a human. A superhuman, but a human. He is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and his hardly believable but a very real story that reminds us of the one in comics brings us all that little bit closer.